Hey everyone, Howie Fisher here with Fisher's Flies. Thanks for checking in. Today I'm tying up a Sulphur PMD soft hackle that is inspired by the Orvis triple header tie-off from a few weeks ago. For the hook, I'm using a Fulling Mill 50/50 Ultimate Dry Fly hook in size 14. For the thread today, I'm using 70 denier UTC in yellow. The triple header tie-off includes Tom Rosenbauer, Tim Flagler, and Cheech from Flyfish Food. So once I get my threads secured, I'm going to go ahead and grab my tail right away, which is a Mayfly CDL pack. This is a really interesting color. It's badger dyed copper olive. This is a Whiting Farms product, but it's basically a orange, olive, brown CDL. It's a really unique color in my opinion, especially once you pull a couple fibers off. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to make my tail about the length of the hook shank here. Tim and Tom mentioned in the video that they prefer a shorter tail. For the Biots here, I'm using turkey Biots in copper and rusty spinner. I'm using 2 Biots, and I'm going to cut one from each of the leading edges. These have a little bit of a wider gap, and in my opinion, are better for creating segmentation like this. So I'm going to cut one of each off, and I'm going to lay them on top of each other. The color that you lay on top is going to be the color that is underneath. So the color that's touching the hook shank, so here yellow is touching the hook shank, that is actually going to end up being my top color, which is what I want here in this scenario. The cool thing about this method is you can actually tie it in either way and create different coloring variations. If you go back to the picture that I included in the very beginning, you can kind of see that. But I'm going to go ahead and wrap these forward, and you want a little bit of open spiral wraps. You don't necessarily want them overlapping, and this allows for that bottom color, that rusty spinner, to show through a little bit more and create that segmentation. In my opinion, this is one of the harder parts of this fly, or any wrapping quills in general. If you let go, you got to start over. But I'm going to go ahead and tie that off, snip off my butt ends there. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab some tactical micro flash dubbing in hot yellow from Fulling Mill. And I'm going to use this one as a hot spot and a thorax, but also 2 to prop up that soft hackle, that front portion. So just a short little bulbous dubbing noodle will do here. You don't need a ton, but you want to make sure you have enough to, again, prop up those soft hackle fibers to make sure that they splay outward. For the soft hackle, I'm using premium Partridge from Nature's Spirit in natural. I'm going to go ahead and prep the feather and tie in the tip. This is definitely the hardest part of the soft hackle, in my opinion. If you're tying it in this way, you got to be careful not to pull too hard so you don't pull out that feather when you're wrapping it forward. But I'm going to go ahead and use my rotary function here to wrap this forward while preening my fibers backwards. And then once I get it where I want it, I'm going to go ahead and secure that stem right there. And once and as you can see, it's easy for that to come undone there just by a slip of the finger or even the slip of the thread. So you got to be patient with this part of the fly, especially if it's your first, second, one of your first times tying it. But once you get that secured, just go ahead and start to build up a little bit of a head on this fly, and make sure that you definitely have that butt secure before snipping it off. Then I'm going to go ahead and whip finish here. And I like to go ahead and give it a 3 or 4 turn whip finish. You don't need to get carried away, because in my here I'm going to add some head cement or UV resin, and that's going to get those wraps secured. So go ahead and cure it, but there you have it. This is a pretty simple soft hackle, again inspired by the Orvis triple head off. Thanks for checking in.